Welcome back to Yahoo Finance. I want to let you know that our parent company, Verizon Communications, shares of that stock rising this morning, and that's on news of a $400 million deal roughly to acquire BlueJeans Network. This is a company that is involved in video conferencing, much like Skype and Google Hangouts and, of course, Zoom. Joining us to discuss this and much more that Verizon is helping everyday Americans get through this coronavirus crisis is the CEO of Verizon, Hans Vestberg. Good to have you here, Hans.
Good morning. Good to be with you today.
Tell us the BlueJeans network deal. They have, I was reading, 15,000 customers right now. With 5G and Verizon's lead in integrating 5G nationwide, how do you expect that to grow, and how will businesses use BlueJeans?
So first of all, this is, of course, an enterprise-grade video conferencing that has been around for a while. Already used, as I said, by 15,000 customers. We have been working with them for almost a year in order to both introduce them as a product that we distribute, but now, of course, we're acquiring them. That, in essence, is, of course, to the customers, small and medium customers, and enterprise customers use them. But I also see the movement when we go into 5G, where video is going to be so important with the low latency and the throughput as a good add-on to our sort of universal communication. I see it also a good add-on for our Verizon Media Group over time, which is very much into video. So this is a product that can play in all areas of our company. Right now, focused on small and medium companies and some really large enterprises. And that we will, of course, maintain. But I see also traction of how we build into our portfolio.
Hi, Hans. It's Julie here. It's good to see you. What I also find interesting about this deal is that reportedly you started talking to BlueJeans last year. So obviously, before all of this began, before we saw this big surge in video conferencing, what can you tell us about demand for BlueJeans product since all of this has begun? And how significant do you think it'll be for Verizon? What kind of customer base in terms of numbers do you think it will end up being?
First of all, I think that, as you said, we have been talking to them since May last year, and we actually introduced them to our portfolio in the fourth quarter last year to distribute it to our customers, because our customer was asking for it when they were doing digital transformation. Of course, with this pandemic that we have around us, the search for any type of video conferencing has gone up quite dramatically. But I would say that it fits into our strategy. This was part of how we want to build our Verizon Business Group. It's part of our 5G strategy. And as well, as I said earlier, it also fitting into our portfolio for our other units over time, the Verizon Media Group and Verizon Consumer Group. So it's actually a product that we see a great importance for our customers, and that we can continue to leverage both today and to the future. And of course, it's even more relevant today when so many people are using video conferencing 24/7 to keep up their businesses or communicate with their friends and families.
Hans, hi, it's Julia LaRoche here. I think what you're kind of getting at is future of work. I just conference for the first time using a video chat system. What do you think the future of work looks like, and how does this fit into that?
I think the future work, we will have some kind of new normal after this. First of all, I think the barrier for many things, how we use technology in our workplace, has gone down because of necessity. And I think that when everything comes back to whatever is called new normal, I think that we as individuals will use these technologies much more. So, of course, we believed in it before, these type of solutions. We believe it even more right now as this pandemic has spread, and seeing how the surge in our network. I've been talking about our VPN is up 50% in the overall network of Verizon. And of course, all of that is video conferencing going on at the same time. We can see it internally in our company. We have 50, 60,000 concurrent video conferencing ongoing during daytime between our employees actually doing their daily business. So yes, we're going to see that continue, and how deep and how far it will go, I don't know, but it will be a total different workplace when we come back, and how we use these tools.
Hey, Hans, I'm curious about COVID and the national response to this. And first, there's been this conspiracy, I want to use the word silly, but this news that burning cell towers and 5G towers might somehow be behind COVID. It seems like fake news, and you need people like yourself, I guess, to address it to the conspiracy theorists out there. But I am curious more so about the president's response, because you've been in conversations with the White House, right?
Yeah. No, I think this has been nothing that has been up to be discussed. As you know, it's very clear. There's no correlation between the pandemic and 5G, and it hurts me to hear that people are burning sites in Europe, etc., for very critical infrastructure. There are people relying on this in order to actually communicate, first responders, healthcare workers, and all of that. So we just need to fight that immensely. And we have support from many of the health organizations coming out as well. And of course, anyone in my industry is doing the same as well. But that has not been a discussion with the White House.
So Hans, it's Julie again. I'm curious what has been the discussion from the White House, right? Because the administration came out with that sort of council to reopen list over the past couple of days. Your name was on it. So what does that entail? I'm not sure that there was sort of a lot of planning on what it entailed ahead of time, but what conversations have you had then? And what do you think reopening should look like?
First of all, the conversation was very helpful. I would say everyone on the call, which was a lot of large CEOs, large corporation CEOs, everybody wants to open the economy as soon as possible. We know how important that is, but everyone also knows that safety and health of the citizen is coming number one. So the conversation was very much about what are the pharmaceutical companies doing, what are the telecom companies doing, what are the technology companies doing to see that we can open, but also talking about what is needed to come back to the work. And I think that sharing was very helpful to understand how others are thinking. So that was the main reason for the yesterday's call. So I learned how others are thinking, but everybody talks about testing, vaccines, which are important to secure our citizens. So it's going to be some sort of I think at least some sort of staggered sort of reopening of this country, as we see in any other country. So it's just common sense. We see that in Europe, some countries start opening a little bit. They have start fighting the COVID-19 better than others. Others have it totally shut. US is an enormous country, so there's going to be a stagger here as well. So, but I think that everyone is really leaning in from the private sector, see what we can do. And, Verizon do a lot. I mean, we continue to invest. We made an acquisition today. We have not closed. We have 30% of our stores still is open. I have 20,000 of my field engineers out there together with our stores open. I have our media outlets getting out with media every day, if it's Yahoo Finance and media. So we have never closed down, but we're following strictly the safety rules for our employees. But we understand that we're so important. We just need to continue to see that our networks and communication works.
Hans, it's Brian Chung here. You're talking about what the private industry could do to help out some of those communities in need. I'm thinking about those kids who can't go to school, but they're in homeschooling, in communities that maybe don't have internet, small businesses that don't have the infrastructure to be able to do some of the deliveries that some businesses are relying on right now. What have you learned about the U.S. telecom infrastructure, those communities in need, and how is Verizon trying to address it?
So first of all, what we learned about the network, that our network is really good. I mean, we have had such a surge in data in our network, 100% growth of gaming, over 50% growth on VPN. And remember, our network is enormous. 50% growth is just enormous. 800 million calls every day, which is twice the amount of Mother's Day, which is the biggest calling day a year. 9 billion texts every day, which is more than on the New Year's Eve. The network is standing up well, and our team is doing a fantastic job. So the network is fine, and now week over week, we see very small movements. Basically, no growth on gaming week over week. VPN very little. We saw a little bit of a hike in usage over the Easter because people were calling more, doing more video conferencing from home. But now it's a little bit more stable. Then when it comes to the most vulnerable in our society, I mean, healthcare workers or first responders, we of course see that they have priority in the network. For the education part, we have done a lot. We have increased the data for all our schools that we are serving, and then topping that with our agreement with New York Times. 14 million high school students are offered the content and the education content from New York Times for free. And then, of course, we have agreed to keep America connected, which means that we're not disconnecting small and medium businesses or residential users for late payments or things like that. So I think we do a lot of things on the society, keep the network up, priority the most vulnerable in the society, at the same time having a network that is really working well. So it's a stressful time for everyone, and we understand that communication is essential in these times.
I want to wrap up with a couple of things. I know that Verizon is giving discounts to frontline doctors and nurses and medical people on their wireless bills and their Fios bills. On a lighter side, because everything has been so urgently serious over the past 2 months, there's the concerts that Verizon is bringing to people nationwide, and Lady Gaga is going to headline the virtual concert. Is that tonight? Can you tell us more about the concerts, and are you a Lady Gaga fan?
So, we do a lot of these from home. So we have two things happening. We do the Pay It Forward, which is for small and medium businesses, which is airing every Tuesday and Thursday night, which is all about paying forward to small and medium businesses. On Tuesday this week, we had 6.3 million attending, two gamers. Well, it was one gamer and one baseball player that was doing gaming. And the week before that, we had Alicia Keys with 4.5 million people. So we're doing that in order to see that people are paying forward. On Saturday, we have the concert together with WHO as well as Global Citizen, which is going to be aired on all large networks. And it's all about informing about COVID-19. And the best and most brilliant artists on this planet will attend our play. And Lady Gaga is sort of the host of it. I like Lady Gaga. She's a really good artist, and she's really pulling in her artist friends to do something great out of this. So tune in for that on Saturday. It's coming a lot of information out now, but it's things you need to do in this time, both entertainment, but not only that, seeing that you enlighten people about the situation, how to be more cautious, safety, health, in times which is, it's so unprecedented times, so it's hard to find a playbook for how you do this right.
Hans Vestberg, the CEO of our parent company, Verizon. We will all keep our poker faces during the Lady Gaga concert that Verizon's bringing everybody on Saturday. And thank you so much for sharing some of the details about the new BlueJeans deal with Verizon. All the best to you, Hans.
Thank you.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.